Bus driver Jack Aston made a mistake on the job and people were seriously hurt. But even his passengers say he never should have been jailed, and they're joining the campaign to free him.
Jack had no intent that day. He went to work and he had an accident and he ran into a bridge and he's in jail.
This isn't your average story about our controversial justice system. Yes, there are victims.
I had fractures in my spine. I had 2 crushed vertebrae and 4 fractured vertebrae.
There was a crime scene.
Jack Aston guilty of negligence.
And there's a convicted criminal doing time behind bars.
I'm just always like, why? Why?
The court sentenced Jack Aston to more than 5 years jail for causing this city bus crash in 2016.
We just all held on to one another and we could hear Jack, and you'll always remember hearing him.
Justice for Jack! Justice for Jack!
But the difference with tonight's story is practically no one involved, including his victims, want this man in prison.
I thought it was heavy-handed, yeah. I was surprised, actually. I thought, wow, that's a lot.
There was no maliciousness, no intent on Jack's part, and if you look at the circumstances on the day.
It has got to be, I think, the worst case that I have ever seen.
Bus driver Jack Aston drove the vehicle into Melbourne's Montague Street Bridge. His passengers were injured, and so was Jack. He broke his neck. But his family members, members of the community, and even his victims feel that Jack's punishment was far too severe, particularly when you consider that some other criminal drivers who've caused death get off far more lightly.
We've seen years and years of lenient sentencing, and all of a sudden they've just decided to get tough, and they've done it on a good guy.
It's early 2016. Father of 2, Jack, is behind the wheel of this gold bus loaded with passengers. Driving away from Melbourne's CBD, he misses several signs warning a low bridge was rapidly approaching.
Everything is slow motion for me from that point. The noise was just absolutely monumental. And then the screaming, just everyone screaming, or I couldn't see anything, I was completely trapped.
Kathy Apostolides was sitting towards the front that day. She suffered serious injuries and has since been diagnosed with PTSD.
I had a really bad gash on the side of my head. I don't feel that side of my head at all. It has no feeling at all.
5 other passengers were hurt in the smash, and in December last year, Jack was found guilty of 6 counts of negligently causing serious injury, jailed for 5 years and 3 months with a minimum of 2.5 at Loddon Prison in Castlemaine, northwest of Melbourne.
It's like he's just been stomped on. It's really hard. Unbelievable.
The tough sentence shocking his family, including wife Wendy and daughter Meg.
Really hard to not be able to reach out to him or anything.
I don't even know how to put it into words, but I just get confused.
He had no drugs in his system, there was no distraction, there was no intent, there was no deaths.
3AW broadcaster Justin Smith is one of the Ballarat father's biggest supporters. He's been helping raise awareness about the sentence, which he's slammed as an injustice.
If Jack Aston had have had drugs in his system, he would have been done on a different charge, and he would have only been done on 1 count, as opposed to the 6 counts of negligence that he's been done for in this case.
Justin points to other recent driving cases which had very different judicial outcomes. This driver was changing the radio station when she drove onto the wrong side of the road and killed a cyclist in 2017. She was jailed for just 9 months. This drug driver copped a 12-month minimum sentence after falling asleep at the wheel and killing his daughter.
Police arrested 18-year-old Atem at a Dandenong construction site.
And earlier this month, a 20-year-old Sudanese refugee was jailed for just 5 years for driving drunk and unlicensed into a crowd of partygoers in Melbourne and then fleeing.
Jack could have done community. He would have got out there, he would have painted a house, he would have done lines on a road.
Kathy and other victims who chose not to go on camera are among community members who are rallying around Jack, demanding his release from prison. You'd be totally within your rights to think, get him in jail, welcome a prison sentence.
Well, for me personally, that's not how I felt. I thought that community service would be probably more appropriate because we tend to forget that it was an accident.
It comes back to the character of the person.
Even Jack's old boss, director of the Gold Bus Company, Peter McKenzie, feels he shouldn't be spending the winter in jail.
In our view, it's now time for him to be returned home.
The Montague Street Bridge has been hit a couple of hundred times before. Jack Aston has only done what people have done before, and he's been absolutely buried for it.
Jack's grouped with all those sorts of people, like he's up there in jail with people that have murdered people.
Jack's now served 8 months in prison, but momentum is building and his family and supporters have just received good news.
Yes, it's a real relief, isn't it?
In the past few weeks, they've got confirmation an appeal of Jack's sentence will be heard in early October.
Hopefully they will let him walk out the door that day and come home where he belongs.
And we will let you know how Jack's appeal goes.